It's on!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Manhattan National Center, where SWF is live in front of more than 27,000 fans. It's time for Awesome Impact 2022, and we have a packed show for you. We'll see the tag team titles be defended when Faith and Old Glory take on the Awesomeness. The North American title will also be on the line when champion Bret Star defends against Des Davids. We'll crown a brand new title holder tonight when Stephen Parker takes on Angry Gilmore for the SWF Canadian Gold title. We have some grudge matches as well. Mikey Lau versus Randy Unleashed in a 30-minute Iron Man match where the most falls win. Rogue and Valiant will be battling for the top contender spot for the SWF World Heavyweight Title and its retirement versus future title shots when Jack Bruce takes on Remo. But in our main event, we will see a triple trouble match for the SWF World Heavyweight Title when our champion Rocky Golden defends against two monsters, Atom Smasher and Scythe. We're going to start off with the action, folks. It's time for the World Tag Team titles to be on the line. Maddie Faith and Mass Patriot make their way to the ring. They're known as Faith and Old Glory, and they're the top contenders for the tag team titles. The champions, the Awesomeness, make their way to the ring, and they're looking quite cocky as they step between the ropes. Darren Smith presents the titles, and we're ready to get this thing started. Power and Speed start this match off with Jefferson Stardust in one corner and Maddie Faith in the other. Stardust refuses to lock up, and he's using his speed to avoid Faith's attempts to engage. But Stardust steps up to Faith, and as soon as they lock up, Faith tosses Stardust into his own corner and he rolls out for a pep talk from his partner, Huey Cannonball. The Awesomeness decide to make a tag, and Faith tags in Patriot. Cannonball is calling for a test of strength, and when their fingers are locked, Mass Patriot pretends to be overpowered and he steers Cannonball into an arm drag. That sends Cannonball into the wrong corner, and Faith is tagged in, and Cannonball's in big trouble. Faith and Old Glory hit a double shoulder block before Faith lifts Cannonball for a military press slam, but he passes the 5'10" Cannonball to Patriot, who does the honors of dropping his opponent to the mat before returning to his corner. As Faith continues to toss Cannonball around the ring, Anna Garcia says Maddie Faith is just playing with his food, and Phil Vibert says you can't count out the world champions. Stardust pulls the top rope down to cause Faith to tumble to the outside, and now the Awesomeness turn the tables with kicks from the apron and a high-risk move from Stardust, while Cannonball attacks Mass Patriot from his blind side. Dwayne Fry recounts the history between these two teams during the recent tag team tournament, as Cannonball uses the ring post to take out Mass Patriot and Stardust rolls Faith into the ring. The second generation powerhouse Faith is the legal man, but the Awesomeness cut the ring in half and keep Faith in their corner while they make quick attacks and use fast double team offense. A missile dropkick from Cannonball gets a 2 count, and a moonsault from Jefferson gets the same. Faith fights back by catching Cannonball's crossbody attempt, but Stardust bails him out by attacking the knee. A double clothesline from Faith allows him to tag in Mass Patriot, who comes in with a full head of steam and cleans house by delivering a back body drop to Cannonball and a massive spine buster to Stardust. The Awesomeness roll to the outside as Faith and Old Glory stand tall in the ring. Referee Darren Smith gets Faith to his corner and Stardust to his, with the legal competitors ready to square off. The exchange ends in Mass Patriot catching Cannonball as he leaps off the top rope and delivering a Patriot slam, but Stardust breaks the cover before 3. Stardust attacks Patriot as Cannonball recovers. He fights off both Mass Patriot and Maddie Faith with fast kicks and high-risk moves until Huey Cannonball is back on his feet. All 4 men are in the ring trading blows, and the referee has lost control. The Awesomeness hit Patriot with super kicks, Then Faith hits a double shoulder tackle. The Awesomeness roll to the apron. They get up and double springboard dropkick Faith, but Patriot is up and tackles Cannonball to the outside. The Legal Men, Cannonball, and Patriot brawl around the ring, while Stardust neutralizes Faith with a dive over the top rope into a rolling senton. As Darren Smith checks on the carnage on the outside, Huey Cannonball grabs the tag title belt and slams it in Mass Patriot's head. Faith and Stardust are still down between the apron and the guardrail as Cannonball rolls Patriot back inside. He gets the referee's attention and he makes the cover. That's 1, 2, 3, and the Awesomeness make defense number 2 of the SWF World Tag Team titles. And we have to move right on to our next match, and we have both of our competitors make their way to the ring. First is Angry Gilmore, followed by Steven Parker. And with both finalists in the CGC Canadian title tournament having made their way to the ring, Damian Carville stands with the prize for winning this contest. Carville is on the mic and explains that Canadian Golden Combat was a prestigious company and the Canadian Championship was a title that anyone should be proud to hold. He praises both competitors, especially since they both have Canadian heritage. The belt is revealed and Damian Carville says the title will now be known as the SWF Canadian Gold. Rick Young calls for the bell, and both Steven Parker and Angry Gilmore start things off slow and deliberate. Gilmore uses his experience to get leverage on Parker and ground him with a series of hammerlocks and toe holds. Parker doesn't panic and he uses the ropes to force a break and he resets the pace. When they lock up again, Parker is able to target Gilmore's left arm using the ring post for as long as the referee will let him. Gilmore's intensity helps him get through and fight back, and Gilmore goes on offense, taking it to Parker by locking in a crossface that nearly forces a tap out. Parker's flailing in the middle of the ring, but Kristen Pierce jumps onto the apron. She doesn't just scream, she reaches between the ropes and grabs Rick Young's arm. That causes Gilmore to break the hold and get into Kristen Pierce's face. She's screaming at him and Gilmore is arguing, and the referee's already had enough and he's telling Kristen Pierce that she has to go to the back and leave the ringside area. Parker's on his feet and he tries to surprise Gilmore, but Gilmore goes on an offensive tear. He hits a series of snap suplexes but doesn't get a pinfall. Steven Parker staggers to his feet and Gilmore hits the ropes and lands a fast flying forearm. Steven Parker rolls out of the ring and Gilmore is staying inside. He's too smart to go chasing Steven Parker, and Parker starts arguing with Rick Young, taking his attention away as Justice Jolson starts to walk down the entrance ramp and he sneaks into the ring behind Gilmore. When Gilmore spins around, Justice Jolson hits a hard forearm right to the jaw and Gilmore goes down. As soon as Justin Jolson is out of the ring and ducking behind the apron, Steven Parker slides in and he pins Gilmore, but Gilmore kicks out. This one's not over and Steven Parker is visibly frustrated. Gilmore tries to mount a comeback by twisting Parker's arm into a hammerlock, but Parker's able to reverse, whip Gilmore into the ropes. Steven Parker ducks a clothesline, and when Angry Gilmore rebounds, he grabs him in that reverse Russian leg sweep. That's the future shock. Steven Parker pins Angry Gilmore, and that's a 3 count. Parker did it. He's the winner of the Canadian title tournament and the first holder of the SWF Canadian Gold title. Alright fans, it's time for our next match, and Mikey Lau makes his entrance to the ring, followed by Randy Unleashed. Alvin Lavin is ready to call for the bell, and both Supreme Stars are slow to start as Dwayne Fry explains the rivalry between Randy Unleashed and Mikey Lau revolves around both competitors having something to prove. Lau wants to show that his training and technique are superior, while Randy just wants to show that he's the better athlete. The match begins with a traditional collar and elbow lockup that results in a series of technical stalemates. Lau uses his legitimate martial arts background to put Randy in arm bars and leg laces, but each time Lau wrenches a hold, Randy uses his natural abilities to escape with a flashy counter. With each counter, Randy mugs for the crowd while Lau resets and focuses. Lau wins an exchange of strikes, pushing Randy into the corner and flips him from the top with a head scissors takedown. After a 2 count, Randy is frustrated and uses the in-ring environment to his advantage, landing dropkicks, splashes, and diving drops, but barely keeping down Lau for a 2. In the next exchange, Lau locks in a devastating chicken wing headlock, and the referee, Alvin Lavin, needs to check on Randy Unleashed and see if he's still conscious before he's able to make it to the ropes for a break. Lau allows Randy to take a breather on the outside while he gets the crowd behind him. Back in the ring, Randy takes the first opportunity he has to toss Lau out, and he taunts the crowd, clearly taking exception to their favoritism. Randy Unleashed attempts a diving crossbody, but Lau moves out of the way and gets back in the ring. It takes a 9 count for Randy to get back inside the ropes, but it looks like he's pissed. Randy Unleashed goes right after Lau, who uses his martial arts skills to block Randy's offense, but Randy is so enraged that he overpowers Lau. Lau is on his heels, but he continues to reverse Randy's offense. They trade a series of lightning-fast reversals that ends in Lau attempting a roundhouse kick, but Randy ducks and attempts a German suplex, but Lau flips and lands on his feet. More fists and kicks are traded until Randy ducks a spinning back fist from Lau. Randy hits the ropes as Lau spins to face him, and he's surprised with a running enziguri. Randy makes the cover, and that's a 3 count. Randy wins the first fall of the match. Randy celebrates as Lavin checks on Mikey Lau. Both Supreme Stars return to their corners and reset. We're not even halfway through the time yet. With the 1 fall advantage, Randy clearly drops his careful approach and lets his unleashed persona surface. As soon as the bell rings, Randy charges with a relentless assault. He's pummeling Lau in the corner before setting him up for a superplex. Instead of making the cover, Randy Unleashed mocks Lau with martial arts poses and taunts the fans who are cheering his opponent. Lau is clearly not at 100%, but he punishes Randy for his disrespect by driving fists into the midsection when Randy tries to pull him up for a slam. Lau seems to be working on pure instinct, a dazed look on his face, but his arms and legs deliver strikes and blocks that force Randy Unleashed to regroup on the outside. Lau attempts to capitalize with a baseball slide, but Randy spins out of the way and connects with a devastating kick. Randy taunts the crowd more before he delivers a moonsault from the top rope to the outside. He then drives Lau's back into the ring post, and he DDTs him on the apron. Throughout the one-sided offense, Phil Viber and Anna Garcia debate whether or not Lau can even make a comeback. With Lau laying near the corner and Randy Unleashed on the top turnbuckle, Randy attempts a 450 splash, but Lau rolls away. Both Supreme Stars are slow to their feet, but when they face off, Randy goes on the attack, but Lau dodges everything as we hear the announcement that only 10 minutes remain in the match. Lau catches a lariat and twists the arm of Randy, but Randy flips around in a flashy reversal and whips Lau into the ropes and bounces off the other side. Randy leaps in an attempt to hit the running enziguri, but Lau ducks it, plants his feet, and connects with a scything sidekick, dropping Randy to the mat, and he stays down for a pinfall. Alvin Lavin makes sure both opponents are separated in their corners before restarting the match. It's all tied up, and both Lau and Randy are clearly looking to dig deep to finish this one off. Lavin calls for the starting bell, and Lau looks to the crowd as he steps from his corner to the center of the ring. Lau offers his hand to Randy Unleashed, who looks around and takes in the reaction from the crowd. Randy grips the hand and pulls Lau in for kicks and stomps. Lau catches Randy's foot for an attempted ankle lock, but Randy slips away and he faces Lau, who stands and acknowledges that the rest of this match is just gonna be a brawl. In the center of the ring, both Supreme Stars trade forearm smashes, chops, and leg kicks. They take long breaks to show off the bright red chests and bruises and sweat from this long, intense match. They square up again for some flashy strikes. Some connect, but most are avoided and reversed. Lau pulls off a Snapdragon suplex for a 2 count, and Randy responds with a standard snap suplex for 2. Both seem to be digging deep and powering up to take direct contact and deliver their own offense, but neither stays down long enough for a pin attempt. Randy Unleashed and Lau hit the ropes at the same time. Randy leaps while Lau jumps. They each connect, Randy hitting a running enziguri and Lau with a scything sidekick. Both men are down and neither is moving. Alvin Lavin checks on both, but he's not ready to call the match. He starts the count as both Randy Unleashed and Mikey Lau stir. We get to 9 before both men are on their feet. They're breathing heavily and ready to fight again, but the bell rings. That's the time limit, and this match is tied at 1 fall apiece. It's officially a draw. We're going into our next match, and this is a handicap gauntlet match. Brandon James is going to face off against Demelza Wade's Big League Club, and he has to defeat all 4 members in order to maintain his independence. If he loses this match, he needs to join the club. Sammy Smoke is starting this match against Brandon James, and as the bell rings, Dwayne Fry explains that James will have to beat all 4 members of the Big League Club, but if he gets pinned just once, he'll have to join forces with them. After losing a quick lockup, Smoke immediately tries to avoid Brandon James, and he slides out of the ring where the rest of his team is ringside. James is taunting him, and it looks like Smoke is getting a handful of powder from Demelza Wade, and Phil Vibert says he might get disqualified, but it would put James at a severe disadvantage. Smoke slides back into the ring, but Chrissy Angel distracts him from the apron, and James slaps the hand holding the powder, and Smoke is smoked. Smoke straight up quits. He taps out and rolls out of the ring, and James Prudence enters, getting into an immediate lockup with James. Prudence seems to be overpowered, but is able to chain reversals to keep Brandon James on his toes. Brandon has the advantage, and he hits a devastating spine buster, but Prudence won't stay down for a 3 count. Chrissy Angel confronts Demelza Wade, who is about to distract James, and James hits the big money move and eliminates Prudence. Now it's Forrest Ratzlaff who climbs into the ring next. Anna Garcia says the real work for Brandon James is just beginning, with Forrest Ratzlaff being the tallest and heaviest opponent tonight, and Whitlock waiting as the capable closer. Ratzlaff and James just go at it with strikes exchanged, and neither gaining a clear advantage as they brawl around the ring. Ratzlaff hits a suplex for a 2 count, and James lands a power slam for 2, but the brawl spills to the outside, and it's chaos as Wade and Angel argue with Shane Stones. James takes care of Ratzlaff near the announce table, and then he goes back over to Wade and Angel to try to break up their argument, but Angel turns on James. She tells him to back off and get into the ring. James seems to have some words for her, and he slides back in the ring, but Sterling Whitlock is there waiting for him. He delivers the Whitlock's end, and Brandon James is down. Ratzlaff rolls back in, and that allows him to make the cover. Brandon James loses. Brandon James is shocked at the end to this match, but Demelza Wade enters the ring quickly to confront James about the stipulation. Chrissy Angel steps between James and Wade while the rest of the Big League Club surrounds her. Brandon James calls off Angel and stands in front of Wade, who extends her hand. James looks at his potential teammates and to the fans in the crowd before shaking Wade's hand and sealing the deal. Now it's time for our North American title match. The challenger, Des Davids, comes to the ring first, followed by the champ, Hollywood Bret Star. Since rejoining the Rat Pack, Hollywood Bret Star has been coming to the ring alone, and he does that again. Davids goes to the middle of the ring, and Star takes his time warming up. Looks like Star is stretching in his corner as Shane Stones calls for the bell. Davids makes his way to the center of the ring while Star continues warming up. The referee signals that the match has started, and Bret Star goes in for a lockup, puts Davids in a headlock, and gets pushed away easily. Star attempts more offense, a shoulder block, a kick to the kitchen sink, and no effect. Davids reverses an Irish whip into the ropes. Bret ducks a lariat, but Davids hits a flying shoulder tackle that sends Star spinning and rolling under the ropes. On the outside, Star wastes time and Davids gives chase. Star is able to take advantage by dodging a tackle that sends Davids into the ring stairs and then raking Davids' eyes while he's blocking the referee's view. As Hollywood Star stays in control both outside and inside the ring, he targets Davids' legs, and Phil Vibert comments that this strategy is meant to take away Davids' power. The strategy seems to work as Bret Star is able to land a neckbreaker for a 2 count. The North American Champion goes for a second, but Davids reverses with a back body drop. Davids makes a cover for a 2 count, and both Supreme Stars square off. Star using closed fists to Davids' gut despite the referee's warnings, but one loud chop from Davids sends Star reeling into the corner. More chops from Davids. He moves to the opposite corner to deliver a running elbow, then a touchdown slam, but Star kicks out at 2. Davids is frustrated as Star staggers to his feet. Davids charges and lifts the big boot, but Star pulls down the top rope, and Davids is hung up. That leads to Star pushing Davids into the apron where he spikes him with a DDT, and both Supreme Stars are on the outside again. Davids reverses a whip into the guardrail, and he's back in control, but Anna Garcia says Davids needs to be aware of the Rat Pack interfering in this match. Davids gets Star back in the ring and shows an amazing display of power as he delivers 3 belly-to-belly suplexes to Star, who slides out of the ring on the third impact. Star wastes a lot of time getting into the ring as he argues with the fans and the referee, but Davids works the crowd too, and it's clear the fans are behind him. With Des Davids distracted, Bret Star attacks from behind and drives his head into the turnbuckle before a back body drop from the top rope. Star hits the ropes, struts, and drives the knee for the moneymaker. He covers Davids, but the kickout throws Star into the corner. As Bret Star argues with the ref, Davids sits up and gets into a three-point stance. Davids charges for the quarterback sack, but Star sees it coming and pulls Shane Stones in front of him. The champ is down, but there's no ref to make the count. Making his way down to the ring is Justin Sensitive. He's shouting at Des Davids and is goading him to get out of the ring. Gary the Entertainer runs in with Leon the Chameleon on his hand. Dwayne Fry explains the history between Gary, Sensitive, and Leon as the three of them brawl, with Leon biting Sensitive's ear and pulling him over the guardrail and into the crowd. Davids is in the middle of the ring during the commotion, and Spencer Spade sneaks in behind him. Spade spins him and hits the Supreme Stunner. He pulls Bret Star over the challenger and wakes up the ref to give Star defense number 2 of his North American title reign. We're going right into our Triple Trouble tag team matchup. Swagger Incorporated makes their way to the ring first, followed by Fame and Money and the Partners. The Supreme Dream Team and the Rat Pack had a bit of a truce that blew up during the Canadian title tournament. Throughout, Swagger Incorporated and Fame and Money were interfering on their stablemates' behalf, but the Partners were always there to interrupt and deliver some punishment. It's all come to a head in this match, and Joey Morgan is inside the ropes with Deaver Arnold in their corner, ready to start as Fame and Money and Swagger Inc. discuss who should start things off. The ref has already called for the bell, and finally it's Paul Huntington who calls off Monty Triscardi and Swagger Inc. As Huntington and Morgan lock up, Damian Carville notes that Fame and Money and Swagger Inc. were on bad terms after the match between Spencer Spade and Stephen Parker, but they seem to have come to an understanding at the moment. Morgan wins the lockup, and Huntington tags Mainstream Hernandez and points to Morgan, which sparks some smack talk from Swagger Inc. Hernandez is able to get the advantage with some high-intensity offense, but he can't capitalize before Morgan tags in Deaver Arnold. Hernandez is with Dominic D'Souza taunting Arnold, but Arnold shows why he's known as the Rampage and goes after both teammates, knocking them to the outside, but that only causes Fame and Money to enter the ring, and both members of the Partners brawl with him. Joey Morgan is tossed to the outside where Swagger Inc. double teams him, but Deaver Arnold fights off both Monty Triscardi and Paul Huntington before leaping over the top rope into Mainstream Hernandez and Dominic D'Souza. As the Partners fight off all 4 opponents, it's clear to Anna Garcia that this is more of a 2-on-4 matchup than a Triple Trouble tag bout. The brawl sees Dominic D'Souza tag in as Fame and Money drop Arnold with a double suplex, but when D'Souza tries to pin Arnold, Paul Huntington breaks the cover, and Monty Triscardi has some words for Swagger Inc. Dwayne Fry explains the history between the Rat Pack and the Supreme Dream Team as the argument continues, and Deaver Arnold and Joey Morgan regroup. Monty Triscardi and Joey Morgan are tagged in, and all 3 teams are in their respective corners. But when Fame and Money and Swagger Inc. use the numbers to their advantage to distract the referee, double team Morgan, and block Arnold from assisting, Joey Morgan gets off a tag to D'Souza, and the ref says it's legal. D'Souza and Triscardi lock up and push each other into the neutral corner, both reversing each other back into the turnbuckles. It's more of a pushing contest than a fight here, but Triscardi slaps Mainstream Hernandez's chest for a tag, and D'Souza does the same to Paul Huntington, and now all 4 Supreme Stars are threatening each other while the Partners, Morgan and Arnold, strategize. Huntington gets pushed into the corner where Joey Morgan slaps his shoulder to tag himself in, while Deaver Arnold leaps off the top turnbuckle and cross bodies Triscardi and Hernandez. Morgan goes on offense, striking Huntington, then D'Souza, then Triscardi, then Hernandez. Morgan power slams Hernandez while Arnold is battling Triscardi and D'Souza on the outside. Morgan's pin attempt is broken up by Huntington, who double teams Morgan with Hernandez, but Deaver Arnold is back in his team's corner, and Morgan is able to free himself for a tag, allowing Arnold to take control with some fast offense. And Swagger Inc. hit the ring, with Justin Jolson coming in to provide some backup. Arnold is fast enough to avoid the attack from Swagger Inc. Justin Jolson tries a clothesline, but Arnold ducks it. D'Souza gets hit. Joey Morgan is back on his feet and he takes out Mainstream Hernandez. Justin Jolson rolls out of the ring trying to revive D'Souza as Fame and Money try to double team Arnold. Arnold's too quick and Paul Huntington accidentally hits Monte Triscardi. Arnold delivers a dropkick that sends Huntington through the ropes. Beaver climbs up to the top turnbuckle. He delivers a cannonball senton to Monte Triscardi, and that's a 3 count. The partners win the Triple Trouble tag. Joanne Rodriguez conducts a backstage interview with Rogue before his match with Valiant. Rogue takes over by talking about his history with Valiant and his desire to hold the SWF World Heavyweight Title again. Rogue emphasizes how much the title means to him, but also says showing his old tag team partner that he's the better man will be just as sweet. Valiant is standing by with Hannah and delivers his own message. Valiant recounts the history between them from holding the tag team titles over 10 years ago to trading the World Heavyweight title between them more recently. Tonight is not about the past for Valiant, it's about the future and his legacy as an SWF Supreme Star. Now we go to the matchup between these two old teammates and rivals. Rogue makes his entrance to the ring, followed by Valiant, who is accompanied by Hannah. The bell rings and both men square up and tie up in a collar and elbow, which gets Rogue pushed into the corner, but Valiant gives a clean break and allows another lockup, which gives Rogue the opportunity to push Valiant into the corner, but Rogue paintbrushes Valiant as they break. The Supreme Stars tie up again, resulting in them trading hip tosses, arm drags, takedowns, all nearly identical. And Dwayne Fry says these former tag team champions are very familiar with each other's style. When Valiant lands a drop toe hold, he offers his hand to Rogue to help him up, but Rogue rolls out of the ring. The ref begins the count on Rogue, but Rogue approaches Hannah and baits Valiant to the outside. That allows Rogue to lift the apron cover and catch Valiant off guard with a choke. Rogue uses the outside area to keep the upper hand, tossing Valiant into the guardrails and stairs before rolling him back inside. Valiant is back in his corner as Rogue is ready to square up. Again, they trade takedowns with Valiant attempting a back body drop, but Rogue scouts it, stops short before delivering a clubbing forearm to the back and a pile driver for a 2 count. Rogue stays on offense by attempting a suplex, but Valiant reverses it into a crossface chicken wing, and Rogue is in serious trouble until he can make it to the ropes. Both Supreme Stars are on their feet and they trade loud chops, while Phil Vibert says the winner will be the one who wants it more, while Ana Garcia thinks skill will determine the winner here. Valiant and Rogue hit the ropes again, and again they are on the same page as they leap at each other for a double flying crossbody that keeps both competitors down for an 8 count. As soon as Rogue is on his feet, he rushes Valiant and stomps on him while he gets tangled in the ropes and pushed to the outside. Rogue gives chase and tries to whip Valiant into the ring post, but it's reversed and Valiant is now in control. He rolls Rogue under the bottom rope and he's climbing up to the top, but Rogue leaps and hits the top rope to make Valiant lose his balance. Valiant is still hung up and Rogue sets up a superplex, but Valiant reverses for a sunset flip powerbomb, but a slow cover means this match continues after a 2 count. Both Supreme Stars are exhausted, but when they get to their feet, Valiant is able to lift Rogue and spin and deliver the Patriot Missile. He makes the cover near the ropes, but Rogue's foot is underneath. Valiant voluntarily breaks the cover before 3 and pulls Rogue to the middle of the ring. On the next pin attempt, Rogue kicks out at 2. Valiant charges Rogue, and Rogue pulls the top rope down to make Valiant tumble to the outside. Rogue waits for Valiant to climb to the apron and pulls him back into the ring. Rogue Irish whips Valiant to the corner, but it's reversed. Valiant charges for a splash, but Rogue moves at the last moment, causing Valiant to go chest first into the turnbuckles, and that sets up the crashing on. From the opposite turnbuckle, Rogue charges and delivers the knee to the back of the head. He pulls Valiant to the middle of the ring, making the cover and getting the pinfall victory. This video package recounts the feud between Jack Bruce and Remo leading up to this match. It shows highlights of their match from Supreme Challenge 37, where Jack Bruce defeated Remo for the SWF World Heavyweight Title, the 50-man Battle Royal at the SWF 50th Birthday Spectacular, where Remo defeated Jack Bruce, and Remo's last match for the SWF World Title, where Bruce was the special referee. We're ready for our next match of the night, and Remo makes his way to the ring. He looks as intense as ever, and he's looking to make Jack Bruce retire tonight. Jack Bruce makes his typical flashy entrance, and the hometown fans are clearly behind him as he tries to defeat Remo. And if he does, Remo can never challenge for the SWF World Title again. Bruce is still waving to the fans as the bell rings, and Remo is immediately on the attack with a knee to the gut and stomps in the corner. Dwayne Fry sets the stage, the legend versus the bully, retirement versus future title contention, as Remo mocks Bruce, who grips the top rope and pulls himself to his feet. The lockup gets this match going, and Irish whips lead to ducked lariats and attempted boots, but it's Remo who takes charge with a back body drop. Remo presses his advantage and gets Jack Bruce lifted for a powerbomb, but Bruce rolls through and wraps up Remo in a cradle for a near fall. Remo is shocked, and Bruce has regained his confidence as the match slows down, while Bruce is working the crowd and calling for a test of strength, but Remo kicks the midsection and tosses Bruce through the ropes. As Shane Stones checks on Bruce on the outside, Remo exposes the far turnbuckle and goes on the attack on the outside. Remo focuses on the knee, using the steel stairs to target Bruce's old injury, and when the ref interjects, Remo grabs a steel chair which distracts the ref and allows Remo to rake Bruce's eyes when Bruce tries to get back in the fight. Remo talks trash to the fans as both men get back inside the ring. Remo continues mocking Bruce as he delivers headbutts and elbows, but Bruce powers up with the crowd's energy and fights back. Bruce lands strikes, a hip toss, and a knee drop to get a 2 count. He forces Remo to the corner and delivers 10 fists to the head before Remo fights him off and whips him towards the exposed turnbuckle, but Bruce grips the ropes to stop the momentum just as the ref sees the exposed turnbuckle and gives both Supreme Stars warnings. Shane Stone stays close to the action as the brawling picks up, and Jack Bruce is ready to deliver a flying elbow, but Remo pulls Stones in front of him. The ref is down, but Bruce is laying on the offense to Remo, culminating in his signature spike DDT, the New York Minute, in front of a New York crowd. Remo is down for what should be a 10 count before Jack Bruce revives the ref. With the ref coming to and Bruce's back turned, Remo delivers a lumbar puncture and makes the cover with his feet on the ropes. That's a 3 count, and Remo wins. With Remo still trying to intimidate Jack Bruce, Bruce gets to his feet and acknowledges the fans cheering for him in the crowd. Jack Bruce has been retired from in-ring competition, but his hometown fans still love him. As Jack Bruce soaks it in, we're going to see a video package that shows the recent feud surrounding the SWF World Heavyweight Title. It features clips from the last few weeks of Supreme TV, where Rocky Golden was attacked by Atom Smasher, and Scythe interrupted the match between Golden and Smasher. And now it's time for our main event. This matchup is a triple trouble match for the SWF World Heavyweight Title. The first challenger is Scythe. He makes his dramatic entrance to the ring, followed by the second challenger, Atom Smasher. These two titans are going to try to take the belt away from Rocky Golden. Our champion makes his way to the ring, and all 3 men are standing by as our senior referee Rick Young calls for the bell. All 3 Supreme Stars are staring at each other from their corners, sizing each other up, trying to figure out how to start the attack. Scythe is the biggest of these massive competitors, and Golden and Smasher charge right into a double choke, but slip out before the slam and attempt a double shoulder tackle, but Scythe stays on his feet. Slowly, a 3-way test of strength is locked in, with Scythe and Smasher joining forces to overpower Golden, but Golden takes the energy from the crowd and pushes the challengers back. Golden is whipped into the ropes by Smasher, with Scythe lifting the big boot. Golden ducks and Smasher eats that boot before Golden clotheslines Scythe out of the ring. Smasher is down for a 2 count before rolling out of the ring, and Scythe returns to brawl with Golden. Dwayne Fry reminds fans that one fall wins the match, and Golden doesn't have to be pinned or give up for him to lose the SWF World Heavyweight Title. Scythe has the advantage with Golden set up for a superplex, but Smasher is back in the ring. He's under Scythe, and all three men crash to the mat with a towering slam. Taking the brunt of the impact, Golden is on the outside while Smasher gets a 2 count on Scythe, and as Smasher and Scythe face off in the ring, Bill Vibert excitedly claims that a new world champion will be crowned tonight. Scythe and Smasher battle from corner to corner, with Scythe catching Smasher's crossbody just as Golden grips Scythe from behind, resulting in a German suplex and fallaway slam combo that rocks the entire ring. As all three men slowly get to their feet, Anna Garcia praises Rocky Golden's resilience as he's the first to stand up. Golden fights off both Smasher and Scythe with heavy blows, and the tide turns in his favor until Smasher and Scythe join forces and clothesline Golden over the top rope and spill out of the ring themselves. The brawl on the outside begins with Smasher and Scythe taking the impact of the post before Golden misses a shoulder tackle and eats the guardrail. The match needs to be won in the ring, and Smasher has the advantage as he rolls Golden inside and connects with a mushroom cloud and pins Golden. 1, 2, no! Scythe pulls Rick Young out of the ring before 3. Smasher and Scythe face off and brawl, with Smasher being pushed to the corner and set up on the top rope for a big choke slam, but wait! Rocky Golden tackles Scythe and knocks him out of the ring before lifting Smasher onto his shoulders and delivering the Rocky Road for a 3-count pinfall victory to retain the SWF World Heavyweight Title. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this year's Awesome Impact. Thank you for joining us, and catch us for the next episode of Supreme TV on our streaming service, Extreme TV. Hey y'all, remember to like and subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments, and set your notifications so that you know every time it's on.
You seem to be having great success in the US market. All your competitors are playing catch up. You must be delighted.
We're just getting started. Will you be making an effort to keep Jack Bruce on the roster? His deal's coming towards its final month. Yes, we'll do everything we can to keep him. It'd be an enormous blow to SWF if we lose him. Stephen Parker won the SWF Canadian Gold at tonight's show. Should we be expecting him to have a long reign? He deserves the opportunity to get a run as champion. What are your thoughts on one of your rivals, Brent Hill, the head booker of TCW? Do you study what he's doing? Oh, he's great, and TCW are lucky to have him.
What are your thoughts on Alan Packer, the owner of USPW?
I don't really know him, so I can't comment. How concerned are you by the off night that high-flying Hawaiian had? Do you consider him to be too unreliable to trust? Everyone has nights off from time to time. Give him a break.